Hello, everybody. It's Barbara. And tonight, or whenever you're watching this, hello to you. Tonight, we are going to be reviewing two of the latest in the Mizi collection, The Brides of Dracula. Now, I do not know which is which. We know that there's Lucy and there's Mina. Unfortunately, I don't know at this moment which is which. I didn't make a note to myself, which is fine. The boxes are pretty much identical, which is why I can't tell the difference. I can tell you just quickly by touching it, this is one of the nicest boxes they've ever done. There's some real thought to this. This has that gothic Victorian look to it, the haunted forest, the overgrown cemetery stone. All of this very much in keeping with Bram Stoker's time period when he released Dracula. It's also in keeping with Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola film that came out a number of years ago, and you're going to see that Lucy's costume is quite similar to that. So just to keep this, this is a design that goes all the way around and through the making of this box. I'll come back and read the back of the box to you. I just want to very quickly show you all the sides. Thank you for choosing JHD Fashion Doll. Please carefully read the following terms after you use. It will be considered that you have read and accepted these terms. So basically, this is a bunch of legal stuff. This is not anything having to do with the history of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Just basically, the standard: don't feed it after midnight, don't put it near water, don't wipe the product with thinner, benzene, alcohol, which could damage the surface of the product. And they're asking you, the receipt is necessary for customer service. And that because these are handmade, the face ups are done by hand, the clothes are done by hand. They may be different from the promo picture. I would also like to show you and see if I can do this without. I'm going to turn the box backwards so we don't see the doll yet. But I did want to show you. Back this up a little bit. I did want to show you that that the dolls themselves come with an automatic backdrop, which I will be using as we talk about the doll. So just to come back, let's see which one this one is. This is Lucy. What's nice about these dolls is that they come with not two looks, but two pieces of with two heads, and something of two looks, which we will talk about. In Lucy's case, she has the one pair of boots, she has the two pairs of earrings, and she has the extra head. And then if this is Lucy, this means this has to be Mina. And Mina has the more definite of the two looks because she has lingerie, which you really can't see right now, but she does have this fierce red robe. And she also has black boots and jewelry that is kind of hidden by the extra head. I believe that Mina is going to be using the anime Wong sculpt, and Lucy has the more traditional Mizi sculpt. So let's go ahead. What am I looking for in this review? This is the first time I've bought Mizi dolls in a very long time. I'm almost willing to say it's been about a year. So I'm looking in this review to see if the body is better, and I'm looking to see if the fit of the clothing is better. So let's find out together. I'm going to pause here while I debox the ladies, and I'm going to attempt to figure out a way to talk about their heads, uh, the head sculpts at the same time. So hang on, folks. Let's see what happens. So let's go ahead and start off with Lucy because she's wearing what happens to be one of the more iconic looks from the Francis Ford Coppola film that I told you about. She's wearing if you've seen the movie, and I'll see if I can find a link in and to that just one scene where you see her dressed like this. After Lucy has been corrupted by the vampire, she winds up being buried in what would have been her wedding dress, and it has this very Victorian look to it that was also informed by where they first encounter Dracula is, of course, in Eastern Europe, which would also mean the Eastern religious tradition. And that iconography of the jeweled cross or the jeweled crucifix is in the crown on her head. And it's very similar to the costume from the Francis Ford Coppola film. It's also very similar to the actual look that you would see in other iconography from that era. This is, by the way, attached to her head with pins, and when I start to take apart her look, I will I will um, take the hat off and I'll show it to you in a bit more detail. But let's talk about her face a little bit more, if we may. Um, as you can see, uh, just to come in a little bit closer, very pale skin tone. Her eyes are at the very top of her eye is a matte mauve lavender eyeshadow. The eyes are lined in black. Her eyes are gray. Her lips are a matte, um, semi-glossy, almost like a nude lip. Obvious blush that is more pink than the lip. If you in the detailing of her eye underneath, let me see if I can get in even closer. I'm not sure if you guys are really going to be able to see this, but right underneath the eyeshadow there is this orangery brown color, and that is what the lips will match. Her eyes are actually matching, the eyeshadow, I should say, is matching her nails. They are very, very long. These are, in fact, the longest fingernails I have ever seen on a female figure. And we do not, ladies and gentlemen, get switch out hands. So you are pretty much going to be either you get a Mizi doll with regular hands, or you are stuck with these huge nails, which frankly is going to be problematic given how gauzy this outfit is. Um, it has a very smooth silk finish as I feel her skin. I think this is the velvet touch. I feel like her hand is about to pop out, but it comes out very easily. But it did not pop out. The hand, uh, as I said, this is the longest fingernail, but there's very little definition to the hand in terms of detailing as to where the knuckles are or veins or anything like that. And you can for once tell that there are toes, which is an improvement for them that we do actually see the definition of the toes. So I shouldn't be that hard. There are toes, and you could see that there could have been some painting on the toenails, but there isn't. So that part of the body is better. And now that I've lifted her up, um, I will also tell you that the body seems to be sitting much better on the stand than it usually has in the past. I did not have to switch to an FR stand. This is the Mizi stand. The Mizi stand is quite comfortable and easy to use. I'm going to go ahead and start to talk about this outfit a bit more in pieces. As I said, there are two, if you just see where my fingers are pointing, those are pins. they are holding the hat in place, or the veil in place, the crown in place, and as soon as they are gone, the hat pops right off. So let's take a look a little bit more closely at the detailing on this. As I said, the iconography is the old Eastern European Eastern Church iconography for the cross, set in silver with pearl and diamond accent. I do not know how real the pearl and diamonds are, but that is the intended look. The headpiece itself is set in pearls, and there is a clasp here, so this does open up a little bit more. I don't know how I would use this with a clasp. And oh shit, it's like, where the hell is it? You're gonna have to be really careful because the where the clasp would fit into, it's not exactly a natural scoop in, so you're gonna have to be really careful. I think this is basically for the purpose of if you were gonna take it off and then put it on another doll. Uh, all of the tulle that you will see, obviously not lined, very, very soft. I am literally terrified that I'm going to put a run in it. Very fine tulle netting with a white base and silver checker pattern. You can see it better on her when you group it up, like I'm doing here. You can see it a little bit better. But it is very, very soft. This is probably the softest material I've ever felt when working with them. Now that I've taken the hat off, the veil off, I can tell you that this is fully rooted hair, or at least it certainly looks that way. No product in the ponytail itself. Doesn't feel like there's product at the top where the rooting is. The very bottom of her hair has a braid in it, which you may not have noticed while she had the veil on, but it has braiding in it. This looks to be a pretty tight hair root from them. This is not going to be a case of me saying, oh my god, we're missing hair. I'm turning her to the side so you can also see that her lashes are real, they are applied, and they are long. They go just about, they go over her nose. So I'm going to turn her back toward the front, or back to the front. She is wearing a pearl necklace, and I'm really not sure the best way to cut this. It is strapped on her, so it didn't move in shipping. So this was always meant to be part of the ensemble. And I'm not sure even if I'm doing the right thing by trying to cut this off. Nope, I'm not. This is so... Okay. Okay, that I just avoided a disaster. The pearls are sewn into her gown. So I'm definitely not going to cut this off, but I am going to cut off. Now that I see it, I'm going to cut the plastic off. To my surprise, because I thought the pearls were a separate piece, they are not. They are sewn into the evening gown. So if you had wanted to use these pearls, which are very nicely strung, you have different sized white pearls, you have enlarged white pearls, and you have gold pearls, which are the same size as the white pearls. If you had wanted to perhaps use this necklace with another ensemble, you cannot. This is coming off in the back with hook and eye. And again, you're going to have to be extremely careful. And I also am going to take her hands off because there is no way this gauze is coming off of this lace is coming off of this body with those hands on. So, ladies and gentlemen, originally I do not know why I thought this. It may have been that I was looking at the wrong set of pictures, but I originally thought that the gown could come off and underneath the bodysuit was a separate piece. It is not, and I cannot take it off. So the gown stays on, and I will lift up the tool to show you as best as I can that there is a typical nylon. Oops. There is a typical nylon panty. Well, there is something of a bodysuit underneath this. It's a cutaway bodysuit. I don't want to put this over her head, but that may be the best idea. Here we go. It's a cutaway bodysuit with silver lame, silver circles intertwined over white suited lining. As I said, it cuts away through the chest, through the bodice. And then the panties are the same material with the same lining. And she does not. So, I mean, if you wanted to do a whole Vegas, I mean, it just so happens this works out this way. If you wanted to do like a whole like Vegas showgirl look, you could do this. I don't know if that's. I mean, it's totally not the. It's totally not the Victorian Bride of Dracula, but you know, at least you could see the bodysuit that way. These are the shoes that she comes with. These are the famous boots that everybody has been raving over. Uh, Very stiff material, obviously embroidered, white embroidered with silver in a sort of a fleur-de-lis that is split right up the middle. Very Victorian. The sole is silver and it is a very high heel, which is not necessarily Victorian. And the boots would go on with a zipper. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work since she's not wearing stockings. Um, I will, when at the end of the video, I will put this on, and I will put it on, and I will show you how she looks in the boots. I will also decide which of the two pairs of earrings she will be wearing. Selection number 1 is silver-toned diamante earrings with silver beading dangles going in the back with clasps. Her ears are not yet pierced, so I may not pierce them just to do this. I think I might leave them on. I'll see. I'll see if I'll put them on her ears or not. That's option number 1. Earring option number 2. Same style of earring, but instead of focusing on the silver beading, hold that thought, it's going to be the same pattern of jewelry style, but it is going to be pearls. So you have your choice of the diamond or the pearls, and both are appropriate because they will match the crown in her hair. And they also, but interestingly, her pearl necklace is gold, but everything else is silver. So I don't know if I quite understand that choice. And if you want to get specific about it, you also have again the original silver balls that were holding the veil in place. These could actually work as a third pair of earrings if you wanted to do that. So that is the Mina, I'm sorry, this is the Lucy that comes out of the box. And I say it that way because, as you know, or if you may know, the real selling point of this ensemble was that it does come with a second head. So she does come with a second head with a different hairstyle, which I am now endeavoring to produce for you. So, courtesy of Hasbro Pulse, we have a way to display Lucy's head. This is I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is a live Lucy. This is the Lucy who is alive. Instead of her eyes being gray, they are more blue, and instead of there being the lavender eyeshadow, the eyes have a gold brown eyeshadow over them. Her lips, interestingly though, are even more pale than uh, the Lucy that with the head that's on the doll. So this is I'm gonna say this is not Vampire Lucy, but her lips are more pale. Also, the hair, as you can see, is quite wavy. It is quite wavy, and to hold that wave, there's a bit of product in here. It's bouncy, but there's product in here. And these ears also have the indication of where you should pierce, uh, but they are not pierced ears. So, I don't know. I think, but this is um, at the time that you were pre-ordering these dolls, you were given the option to go ahead and purchase a second body, and I did not do that. And I'm sort of regretting not doing that right now. Um, this is pretty much this head sculpt of Lucy is a different kind of Mizi head sculpt than we have seen before. It's a little more. It's it's a little bit more of an older woman. I don't know if I can quite just in terms of her pose, or maybe it's the fact that I have her head looking up. But she looks about a decade older than the Lucy on what would be my left and your left. So she looks a little bit older, but she's and her lashes are just a touch longer, I think, but they are real and they are applied, by the way. And that's the second head sculpt. So Lucy is definitely very much a success. So let's go ahead. Pun so not intended, but also so appropriate. Let's go ahead and talk about Mina. And talk about what Mina's wearing and doing and being. So here is Mina. And Mina is she's I'm not sure how Victorian this lingerie is. It's more Moulin Rouge to me, but I'll say more about that in a second. Let's talk about her face sculpt first. As a face sculpt, she has very nice auburn colored hair. Different from the fire engine red hair you're going to see in a couple minutes when I talk about her second head. Her eyes are a gray brown, uh, brown around the entire eye, including at the eyelids. The brow is also brown. She is wearing blush. It's a pink blush, and she's wearing a deep wine burgundy lip in a kiss pose. Really, the lipstick almost perfectly matches her hair. Let me put this down and we will take a moment to talk a little bit more about her hair. Mucho product in it. Obviously has to be to hold the curls that are asymmetrical. They're on an angle, and I don't know if that's because of the box or that's just how it came out. Um, relative for this is yeah, I mean I'm right here and I'm pulling it apart. Um, the rooting could have been a little bit tighter, and I think that lack of rooting might be obvious when you take the curls out. But if you leave it the way it is, it does look and feel like a fully rooted head of hair. So this is definitely better for them in terms of hair, but it still needs work. And by the way, her lashes are real and they are applied. I thought previously that I'm going to come in close so you can see the detailing on the bodice. I thought previously that Lucy's I'm sorry. I no, I was right. I thought previously that Lucy's bodice could come off. It cannot. It's all one. That is all one piece. It's a nightgown. This, however, is a separate bodice that can come off. It is pleated in the front, and it is obviously red with gold embossing and um, bedazzled like little I'm totally bombing here the gemstone like bedazzled gemstones for the diamonds all through the bodice, even over here where there isn't any embroidery you have a couple more detailed. As I said, it reminds me of the Moulin Rouge, something a dancer in the Moulin Rouge would wear. It's going to come off with hook and eye, and it is lined not in suiting but in netting. It's lined with white netting. So, but at least here in this case, the loops are much easier to see. Not easier to work with, but easier to see. I'm sort of doing this also blind because her hair is getting in the way. But I think nope, didn't get the top. So let me get the top. Here we go. Here the fingernails make a little, the fingernails are matching, not mentioning. They are matching the gold detailing. They are, again, very long. Velvet touch body. Do want to be careful with the hands. They're firmer. They're not as wobbly. This is, again, a much stronger, better body. I'm very happy with it, especially with the toes. And again, the toes do have, the feet, I should say, have the toes. There's definition to the toes. They are just not painted, which kind of makes sense as I'm thinking about it because she, like Lucy, has um, very high boots. The boots are nice, but they are not the showpiece of her ensemble. Much like Lucy, the showpiece of Mina's ensemble is her robe. Much like I said, the showpiece here is Mina's robe. It is not lined. Um, I'm not quite sure what this material is. Um, it's not tulle, that's for sure. It's stronger than tulle. I'm not as afraid to hold it in my hand as I was holding Lucy's bathrobe. This is definitely a boudoir robe lined in red fur and overly exaggerated cuffs. Whereas Lucy's is very tight. Lucy's is very tight. Mina's are much more exaggerated. I'm going to take her hands off and I will put them on so you can see what I mean. This is very much the temptress look. Um, I don't remember this being part or any bride of. I can really only speak to the Francis Ford Coppola movie, which I have very clear memories of watching. That's pretty much the only Dracula movie I've ever seen. Yes, I have never seen I have never seen a Bela Lugosi Dracula all the way through. You can send your hate mail to the angry video game nerd. No, I'm kidding. Do not send him hate mail. He might actually hate me, and he's got way more followers than I do. This really is meant to sit off of her shoulders and and fall around her almost like a ball gown. You almost don't need to put you almost don't you you almost you don't need another outfit with this. And you don't get one, but you certainly don't need one because the robe itself becomes that second outfit. It almost looks like a ball gown on her and around her. It's quite full. I'm not even sure, frankly, how, if I was to put the hands back on, and I haven't done that yet, you'd never see them. It's like this is the sleeve. It totally takes over her entire body. It's very sweeping. It's almost like fire and brimstone falling around this poor woman. She's completely possessed by the devil, by the temptress. Um, so let's take a look at the rest of her accessories then. She also comes with a pair of boots. The boots are the same kind of material. They are the same kind of material as Lucy's boots, except Mina's are obviously black and gold. Again, the much more temptress. The the sole is stamped in red and has Mizi on it, as I assume one or both of, yes, as do Lucy's boots. Your two choices, not surprisingly, you have gold. Again, these are basically the same pattern. Well, no, this is the same pattern as Lucy's outfit. It is gold with pearl, but then in addition, you have the red and gold chain, which is a completely different look from. It's a much longer look, and I think that's also to accent the flowing nature of the robe. So once you have the robe on, you're going to want to go with these earrings. So I'm not going to pierce their ears, and I'm not going to put the earrings in, but I will put the boots on, and we will talk about my final thoughts on both of these ladies. So, like the previous Mina head sculpt, there is a lot more going on here in terms of the hair color, of the design, everything. First of all, this is a completely different hairstyle. It's a much brighter, uh, um, like a fire. This is a fire engine red as opposed to the auburn color on the Mina on the Mina that comes out of the box. The hair is a bit more fuller. This is a full root, and there isn't a lot of product in here, but there's also a lot of hair here pushed up into her curly ponytail. But to return to her face, the blush is much more present. It actually goes into her eyes, into the eye lining. Her eyes are brown, and so is the lining under her eyes, though the faux eyelashes are a red that match both the inner eyebrows and her hair. So this is a very so there's a whole lot of red going on in the face. It's a very bright red lip. It's a matte lip, but even in being a matte lip, it's still very bright. And right above the eyes in the lower lid, it is a shimmery silver, almost like a silvery green paint. And her lashes are extremely long. They are real and they are applied. So this is by far, and I have not reviewed every head that Mizi has done, but I will say that this is by far, head and shoulders, the nicest. This is the nicest um, head sculpt Mizi as a doll company has ever done. This second Mina, from the hair to the face paint, especially the detailing around the eyes. This is truly a work of art for them. This is the nicest they've ever done. So if you are a fan of auburn colored hair dolls, I can almost see this easy. You would have to do a little bit of work on this, but it is not out of the realm of possibility to turn this head sculpt into a fairly decent Scarlett Johansson Black Widow. Okay? So let me pause here again, and I will give you guys my final thoughts about what you should do with getting these dolls. So ultimately, I decided not to put the earrings in because I was not happy with trying to get their ears pierced, so I wasn't going to push it and rush it. I will, however, as I promised, give you a quick look at their boots. Um, Obviously, on Mina's, they make sense. It adds to the whole, oops, it adds to the whole Moulin Rouge effect. It looks like she's posed, she's ready to go out. It adds to the whole seductress look. On Lucy, it's not. I mean, you can barely see them through the gauzy gown because of the boots themselves on Lucy are meant to be transparent. They basically are, and then you put them over the gown, you can barely see them. If you're going for the ephemeral, angelic, wispy look, then it makes sense, except that this is also very much in keeping, as I was talking about earlier, with that iconic look from Francis Ford Coppola's film. So, and at that point, Lucy was anything but angelic. Um, and by the way, I don't think it's Lucy whoever is in. I think it is Mina who's in that costume. But anyway, at that moment when she's dressed like this, whoever's wearing it, Lucy or Mina, has already become a vampire. So you would almost think she would be wearing this ensemble, but she's wearing this. I digress. So my final thoughts. Do you get these dolls? You 1000% do. From top to bottom, this is extraordinary work. Um, Mina's second head, which I took it off the stand, but I will put it back on camera. Mina's second head is amazingly good. Um, it is probably the best job they've ever done with hair and with face paint. Period. It looks. This is the. It actually, looking at it head on, it looks like a Veronique Perrin face sculpt. This almost looks like a Veronique Perrin face sculpt. So this is the best they've ever done with a face sculpt. You absolutely, if you can get nothing else, get Mina's second head. Even with the anime Wong sculpt, the one foible I had was the rooting of her hair in the auburn shade. It's not the very best they've ever done, but it's miles ahead of anything they've ever done before. And again, Mina's face paint is just gorgeous. It's marvelous. The bodice, even with the pleating, fits her perfectly. It's not falling off. It's not too loose. The shoes are incredibly well made. Even though I elected not to put the earrings on, the earrings look fantastic. Um, Left to right, top to bottom, these are great dolls. Even, and just to quickly, just to talk about Lucy's other head sculpt, um, it's really quite lovely. It's a little bit closer to Poppy Parker, but it is still very, very nice. It's reminding me, and I cannot, oh God, what the hell was her name? There was an actress, she was eventually on Mission Impossible after Barbara Bain left. She was on next, and this head sculpt reminds me of this actress. I wish if I had a computer in front of me, I'd Google it right away and see if somebody could to tell me the name. Hold on a second. In fact, I have to Google it. Hold on. I am exceptionally proud of myself because it came to me while I was thinking about it. Here's your useless TV trivia for the night. This head sculpt reminds me of Linda Day George. This is who I was thinking of the entire time. If you've ever seen Mission Impossible in one of the later seasons, that's the big series she did, and the actress's name is Linda Day George. So you have the much better head sculpts, the much better job with rooting. You have these really well made ensembles. You have the really good shoes. The stand is much better, and I'm just gonna remove Lucy for a second to show you that even the saddle of the stand is thicker and sturdier. Um, so this is, literally top to bottom, everything is better. This is giving me the confidence now that I'm going to go ahead, and there is an Adonis coming that has long hair. He is African or African European, and he has long hair. And I'm going to go ahead and try to get my hands on him because now I have the confidence that the Adonises are going to be good. And that's because the Mizis have come up so far so fast. Yeah, this is it, guys. I mean, this is the moment. Mizi has finally entered the world of Integrity Toys, and they are knocking hard now. They are knocking hard now, so you definitely want to be checking this out. And from now on, I will be talking about Mizi much more directly and probably positively in comparison to IT. So just keep your minds out on that. And yes, guys, I do remember that Integrity also did a Dracula line some years ago. Um, I'm going to go ahead and say it. These Mizis are better. These Mizis are better. So, for Lucy and Mina, the original Mizi sculpt, the anime Wong sculpt, I am Barbara, and I will see you in my next review, which is probably going to be back to Mattel, back to the Inspiring Women. I finally got my hands on the Maya Angelou. She is sacred to me, and we are going to talk about her and her poetry and her legacy when we do that review. So I hope you'll enjoy it and you'll come back to me for that. Take care. Bye bye.